Krista, and you're watching Amien's House. Today, we're going to talk about fodder. If you've been following me along on social media, you know that I have grown some fodder for the pigs and the chickens, and today I'm going to walk you through how I do that and what you're going to need and get you all set up so that if you would like to do it, you can. This is our third round of fodder this year, and I'll go through some of the different things that I've been experimenting with this year and what I think has worked and what has been a total fail. All right, so let's jump in. So first off, let's talk about what is fodder. Fodder is basically sprouting any sort of grain. So you can use barley, wheat, oats, sunflowers. We have been using a lentil for kind of like a legume for the pigs. So anything that any grain that you have, you would get feed grain. You don't have to get food level grain, but just feed grain, and then you'll sprout it. The reason that you would sprout it is to take the grain further. So you'll get more from the grain than you would if you just fed it dry. And you get more nutritional value. Same as when you and I would want to sprout something. Any sprouted grain, we have learned, has more nutrition in it. So you get more nutrition out of that one seed than you would if it wasn't sprouted. So that was why you would sprout the grains. That also, 1 cup of grain that you would dry feed to your animals goes a lot further when it's sprouted than it is, so you get more bang for your buck. So saving money is also one of the other reasons. And I'm trying to think if there's any other, am I missing any reason? The other reason that I do it in the winter only is because I feel we have pasture raised pork, kuni pigs, which are pasture animals, and also our chickens are free range. And I also feel like, and it might be just me, but in the winter, you want something green. And I kind of feel like our pasture animals probably want something green too. They do get hay, the pigs, and the chickens, not so much, but I just feel like just having something green and fresh must be so nice in the winter. So I usually start a bag of barley in January and then just do that 1 bag until it's done, just to kind of give them a boost for some nice fresh green stuff when we're under layers of snow. So we don't use fodder as our main feed source. We have it as something that we add on. We feed our pigs twice a day in the winter, 1 in the morning, 1 in the night. And so in the afternoon, we give them this, the evening meal or the afternoon feed. We give them fodder instead of giving them just another cup of grain, just to kind of break up what they're having. I don't have enough space to sprout all of their grain for both feeds every single day. So this is kind of like an extra. They get our food scraps and stuff in the afternoon too, if we have food scraps. So it's kind of like the afternoon feed. We do something different, but they always get the same normal soaked grain in the morning. So if you would like to do your fodder as your main feed source, I'm gonna run off some numbers here for you so you can get what they would actually need. So you would take 2% of your animal's weight per day if you're replacing it completely. So we just don't feed them their grain in the afternoon, we feed them the fodder. And we don't do an exact math on it, but if you would like to replace your animal feed completely, you can, just by doing your sprouting. So you would need 2% of your animal's weight per day, and then each tray holds 5 pounds of food. So that kind of tells you how much you need. So if you needed 15 pounds of food per animal per day, you would need to make 3 trays, feed 3 trays of sprouted animal feed over the course of the day to meet that animal's need for its nutritional feed wise. And I would also recommend that you do several different types of grain, not just do barley or 1 grain, that you would do several so that you have more of a balanced nutritional diet, and your animals will dictate what kind of grain that you should have. This another reason why we make sure that they get a cup of normal grower in the morning, and then they get the additional feed in the afternoon that's something different, has a different nutritional base. I kind of feel like we all eat very rounded diets, and it kind of feels the same for the pigs. They should have variety, and the chickens, so that it's not just the same thing all the time. So you would multiply however many trays you need per animal, and then you would need that many trays for every day for the week, which again, as I said earlier, I don't have the space for that. So we just go through our trays. I make 2 trays for chickens, and then I make 3 trays for pigs. So 1 tray would go in with the adult chickens, 1 tray would go in the baby chickens, and then each set of pigs gets a tray as kind of like an added on bonus, and we cut down their feed. So we don't feed them, they don't get this every single day because again, don't have enough space for all the trays. Hopefully one day I will have enough space that in the winter I can do enough that they can have fodder every single afternoon, and it's something that they have as a special treat every afternoon from January till March or April. Right now I don't have that space, but maybe one day I will. Okay, so what do you need to be able to get started? So obviously what you're gonna need is you're gonna need trays. What kind of trays? So you just need the planting trays. So this one is a good example. You need trays that don't have any holes, and then you need trays that have the holes in the bottom, and you need only one tray that doesn't have holes, and then you need enough trays with holes that you're gonna hold all your feed in. So if you're gonna do 9 trays a day, you will need 9 trays with holes for every day that you're planning on doing fodder. So that could add up to be quite a lot of trays and quite a lot of space. Originally when I saw this, and what Jeff and I were gonna build but just haven't, was that you would just build kind of like a plant stand like this, but instead of wood, you would have grates, or you'd have the water to be able to fall through, so you don't need to have, what you would do is you when you rinse the top, it all runs down right through the bottom, which would be great, and then you would have enough space for all your trays for all your days. We were gonna build that in this bathtub, which I'll show you where I do my fodder, but it just never got done, and then we're planning on moving, and we're not really sure where we're gonna do this in the new house, so that just never got done, so I just make do with what we have. Okay, so you need tray without holes, tray with holes. You need a bag of barley or sunflowers or oats or whatever you're gonna do. Make sure you have a bag of that, and then you need a cup of some sort. So a solo cup is what kind of they recommend. I didn't have a solo cup at this house. I just had one of these old Pepsi cups that we had from Dubai still in the house, so I grabbed it. It was just in the kids' birthday stuff, so I grabbed it, and that's what I've been using. But basically roughly a size of a solo cup that you're going to measure. 3 solo cups go into 1 tray to give you your 5 pounds of grain. You're going to need some apple cider vinegar so that we can avoid any molding or and just kind of keep everything balanced. And you're gonna need access to water of some sort. So let me show you how you do this. So one thing I did forget to mention was temperature and lighting. So you do not need any extra lighting. As you can see, these lights aren't on. They're just sitting on the plant stand because I just need room. They were on the floor. You don't need to turn on any lights. They don't need to be on a south facing window. They don't need to be even at a window, just in your room. If you had a basement, you might want to keep the light on if you didn't have a lot of light going in there, because they do need light. They can't be spread in complete darkness. But they don't need any extra special light. So you don't need anything extra for that. Temperature wise, they should be around 20 degrees Celsius, nothing too extreme, not too warm or too cold. So just a regular house temperature. Again, if you were in the basement, you would just want to make sure that it's kind of on the warmer side. You wouldn't want a really cool place for the sprouting, but you don't need anything warm like a heat pad or anything to get them to sprout like you would for some plants. Okay, so please excuse my bathtub. It's absolutely disgusting. It's not a bath we used to bathe in. It needs to be replaced, but it won't be replaced while we still live here, so we use it for other things. So you need your tray. This is my tray that has my holes in it. This is my tray that doesn't have holes in it. I also forgot to mention that you might want these supporting trays for when you pull your fodder out after the first day. It's nice to move them into a supportive tray so that they're nice and they're not as flimsy that way. So what you want to do is take your cup of fodder. You're going to fill it with 3. I don't have an extra tray to show you the actual soaking stage because I wanted to show you the stages of how the fodder changes every day. So what you're going to do is you're going to put 3 cups of grain in, then you're going to soak it, fill it up so that it's up to like covered, splash in some apple cider vinegar, and that's going to soak for 24 hours. So you just make sure that it's covered for the 24 hours and you don't do anything. That's all you do the first day. The second day, what you're going to do is you're going to pull this tray of water up out of the one that it was soaking in, let it all drain, and you move it over to your supportive tray if you want to use that, and you will dump the water out of this first tray, and then you start again. Get another tray with holes, put your fodder in, apple cider vinegar, fill up the tray. Now, with day 2's, so this is now on day 2, this is day 1. Day 2's, you're going to, I take a bucket full of water and I pour it over and I rinse it. I'm not doing that because it'll be super loud. So this is first thing in the morning. You would rinse it all off, and that will be day 2 on that one. Then what happens that night, this one stays the same, it's still soaking, you don't do anything with it the first 24 hours, but the night of the second day, you will then again fill up your bucket and you will rinse your fodder so that you have now rinsed it twice. Third day, we'll move over here. Sorry, just move the camera. Okay, so this is day 3. So this one has both, this is just barley. This is barley with some green lentils, and that's for the pigs because the pigs really do well with lentils. They're really good to have legumes in their feed. So I just do barley for the chickens, and I do barley and legumes, and I do, this one is 2 cups of legumes to 1 cup of barley. I have done the opposite where it's 2 cups of barley and 1 cup of legumes. Both is fine, I just wanted to use up the legumes, so I started doing that. So day 3, what you will do is you will lift this out, you will put it in your day 1, your day 1 moves to day 2, day 2 moves to day 3, and so my day 3 is up on the shelf, and I'll show you that in a minute. You will then fill this up again, splash of apple cider vinegar, fill up the water, rinse day 1, rinse day 2. At night you will come back, leave this one, rinse day 2, rinse day 3. So it basically, once you get started, it's really, really easy. It takes me maybe maximum 5 minutes after I clean up everything because I drip water everywhere. But if I didn't have that cleanup, it would only take 1 or 2 minutes to do. So this is day 2 on this one. I don't have a day 1 because I ran out of trays and I ran out of time to take this yesterday, so it didn't happen. But this is day 2. So you can see the roots are spreading and you can see some of them. That's actually one that I added. Here's a better version of what is actually day, get it out of the sun. So you can see a roots and a sprout is started. So that's the second day. Day 3, we have quite a lot of roots and we have some green showing. This is day 4 of both barley and legumes. So you can see a little bit, there's a little bit more green on that one than it was on the previous day. Then this is, what did we say? 2, 3, 4, this is day 5. I'm losing track of what day it is. So much more green. You can see both the barley and the legumes, because the legumes are definitely different. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is day 6, which is just barley. So you can see how it's ready. And if I can get it out of this tray with one hand, I might not be able to. I'll show you that in a minute. So that's day 6, and then day 7. And day 7 is totally ready to go out. It's one big lump. So I'm gonna have to stop the camera, pull it out, and then show you in a minute. But that's ready to go out. The chickens will love this. This again is just barley. This is just barley as well. These are both for the chickens. So let me show you what it looks like underneath this. Okay, put you down so you can see. So this is, if I pull this tray out, you can see the roots on the bottom. Oh, it's really, really heavy. So you can see the roots breaking through the bottom. And then if I pull it even out, this one will come out. Woo! That's what it looks like on underneath. It's a solid root base. And then you see the seeds and then the green sprouts of it. So the animals absolutely love every part of it. The chickens, once they start picking at the grass, and then they absolutely, once they start seeing that there's seeds in there, they start scratching to get at the seeds, and they love it. And it disappears so fast. So some of the experiments that I have tried this time around is I tried to do 2 cups of fodder instead of 3 cups of fodder, because as you can see with that, when you pull it out, it's amazing how full, and it almost seems too full for the tray. So I was like, oh, I wonder if 2 cups would be a better ratio instead of what was recommended when you actually look up fodder, and it's not. It's just not enough. It actually doesn't fill the tray for some reason. And I tried 2.5 cups, but still not as great as doing 3 cups. So stick with the 3 cup ratio to these size trays. The other thing that I forgot to do with my second round of fodder was put in the apple cider vinegar, and it totally makes a difference. The fodder starts to rot instead of actually sprout, and there's a smell with fodder. It's a growing smell, but when I forgot the apple cider vinegar, definitely was more of a rotting smell, and it was awful, and I couldn't wait. And it didn't sprout as well. It really didn't take off. It didn't do what it was supposed to do, mostly I think because it was rotting. So definitely recommend the apple cider vinegar, and remembering to put that in every single tray. I hope you have found this video really helpful. If you're trying fodder for the first time and you run into any troubles, don't hesitate to leave me a comment below or to message me on any of my platforms to get some questions on how to walk you through if I've had any success with anything that you might be having troubles with. I hope you take some time to simply breathe, and I'll catch you on the next one.